Hey guys, this is Jay Knows It All. I just thought I would post this video to share my experience with dealing with what I would consider some pretty poor customer service that I had when I was having a lot of problems with. It was a 2015 Dodge Charger, so not even 2 years old. June 2016 I purchased the car. Come around to September 2017, I'm actually not able to move the car.
It is November the 28th and I'm at work and cannot move my car. When I try and move it from park to reverse, flashing, shift to park, then desired gear. When I move it back to park, try and turn off the vehicle not in park. And I'll do it again. Foot is on the brake, shift to any gear. Same flashing, and the vehicle will not move.
And there's no shift release in a Charger. If anybody out there has one, then you know you have to actually open up the gear box to be able to move the car at that point. I didn't find that out, of course, until after I had already gone through all these headaches with Dodge customer service, and going back and forth to their dealership, them telling me that there was nothing wrong with the car, and finally figuring out that the transmission had gone bad in the car and it needed to be replaced. Again, car was a 2015 vehicle and it was only 2017. Once that car had gotten the transmission replaced, Dodge did replace it because it was still under warranty. They took care of that. I then went to go get another vehicle because I didn't want that to happen again if I kept this same car. So I went out shopping, I did my research, and I came across a Hyundai dealership. I go to the dealership. It's actually a rainy day, I remember. Go there with my brothers and we look at the car I had seen online. It was a Hyundai Genesis 2016 and I was looking to get that car for $33,000. It was the right color. The features in it, it had a backup camera, automatic windshield wipers, a touchscreen dash, everything that I was looking for in my car at the time. We get to doing the actual numbers for the car. First issue was that the salesperson told me that they were not going to run my credit because I already had a pre-approved note from a credit union that I was going to be using, and all they would have had to do was call the credit union to make sure that the note was good, that it was correct, and they'd be able to go through them. But the dealership wanted to run multiple inquiries on my credit report. When you are searching for a car, doing those multiple credit reports in a short span of time, it still counts technically as one, but initially it will drop your score. He tells me it's not going to be run. He takes the letter that I gave him, he takes a little sign-in sheet that they had. I immediately, not even 2 minutes later, get a notification from Credit Karma letting me know that there has been an inquiry on my credit. We just talked about this not even 2 seconds ago. Why is it that now I'm seeing this? He immediately tells me that, oh yes, we have to run your credit. No, you don't, but okay, we'll let that part slide. I'm not worried about that. That was the first thing. Next, we go into getting the new car. My trade-in was supposed to be $15,000. There was a discrepancy in the amount he told me or quoted me versus what the finance person wrote on the actual paper. That became another issue. Once all the paperwork was said and done, we go out to look at the car. I see that there are some brackets that seem to be either missing or broken. That on the passenger side of the vehicle in the wheel well. So I asked them about this and they say, just look like they might have come out. We'll fix it, don't worry about it. I said, all right, fine, no issue. I'm just not gonna take possession of the car right now. I'll just come back and get it once it's been fixed. I come back, gonna pick up the car. I'm driving the car and it doesn't feel quite right. Initially, I had some issues with the car where it would shake when you're accelerating.
And it also appears that the faster I go, the worse the car shakes and the bags rattle.
It felt like it was veering to one side
and it's still pulling to the right.
There were some issues with the electrical system.
The technology also has issues. The time is wrong and cannot be changed. You try and change the clock, it's grayed out. Cannot change the time, but this time is wrong. It is 12:13 a.m.
The key fob wasn't always working.
The trunk is supposed to have a smart lock that when the key is in my pocket, as it is right now, Gonna pull it out here. It's supposed to beep 3 times and open the trunk. And I'm standing right next to it and absolutely nothing is happening. And as you can see, I just turned on the car, but it is not working.
There were just a lot of little issues that kind of built up over the maybe day and a half that I was driving the car.
Check AEB system. Look at it, it's still going off, and it is January the 6th. I just got this car back. Same check AEB system.
I then took it back to the dealership. I'm having some problems with the car. Can you take a look at it, see what's going on? They call me back the next day and let me know everything seems fine. You know, you can come pick it up. There's no issue. Driving back to my house, again, same issues that I was seeing before. Car seems to be shaking, seems to be veering off. Seems to be some kind of issue with the electrical system, key fob problems, trunk pop was supposed to be automatic. I take it back again the very next day, speaking to the same salesperson who told me again, it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong, but you know, we can have a test drive and we'll see if we're seeing the same issues that you are because our mechanics aren't finding them. So as we're riding, the mechanic is telling me, oh, well, you know, this is how this normally drives. This is what usually should happen. And I tell him to go onto the interstate and see how it drives on the interstate. And he then says, okay, yeah, I see there might be some issue here where he's feeling the car pulling to one side. He sees that there is shaking and that it's not a normal thing for this vehicle to be doing. So we get back to the dealership and they say, okay, we'll do an alignment for you, put some new tires on it for you, and hopefully that'll help. My brother and I went to go look at some cars for him at another dealership. Hour or two passed by and we come back. The salesperson then tells me, I have put new tires on it, aligned it for you, we've cleaned it, we fixed the brackets. At this point, that's all we can do. For the price you paid, a little shaking isn't that bad. And that in itself really frustrated me because I'm telling you that I've paid all this money for this car, which I'm going to be paying for quite some time, and you're telling me that it's okay that the car shakes a little? No, it's not okay because it's not supposed to be happening. The trunk shouldn't have issues with opening. There shouldn't be issues with the key fob. There shouldn't be problems with the car pulling to the left, right, or whatever else. There shouldn't be problem with the lights. There shouldn't be any issues whether the car is new, used, or whatever. The car should be recertified as you told me it was when I first came to pick it up. After he told me that and I responded with that comment, he then says, okay, well, if there are any other issues, come back, we'll take a look at it again. I drive it away, exact same issues. I bring it back the very next day. At this point, he tells me that there's nothing more he can do and I would have to speak with the sales manager or someone middle of the road who couldn't really do anything. I remembered when I first got my packet of paperwork that there were business cards attached inside of the paperwork. And these business cards were for the owner of the dealership, the owner of that particular location, the senior sales vice president, and then of course the person who I was actually speaking to, who I found out later was supposed to be the sales supervisor for the department. I said, okay, well that's fine. I'll leave the car here. They gave me a loaner car.
So this is now a Hyundai Elantra that he gave me to drive while they're trying to fix mine, and what do you know? Take my hand off the wheel, it still goes straight. Doesn't turn right. There's no shaking. Passenger seat isn't shaking.
And I had essentially a chronology of everything that happened from the point of me actually purchasing the vehicle up until that night where he told me that there was nothing else that they could do. I typed up this email, I send it to the owner of the actual dealership, I send it to him, I CC every person who has a business card as well as anyone who I spoke to in the dealership that gave me a business card. After I did that, lo and behold, the next morning I get an email from the actual owner of the dealership saying that they'll take a look into the issue. From that point, it was me speaking with the actual person who was directly below the owner of that location, dealing with trying to fix my vehicle. I actually went on a test drive with him in his car. It was a nice Audi SUV. He had some kind of issue where the car was shaking at high speeds because his wife had hit a pothole. And he said, is it this kind of shaking? And I said, no, it's not that kind of shaking. Get back in my car and let's see what the difference is. So we get in, we're doing a test drive. He says he doesn't really see what's going on, but they'll take it in, we'll take a look, and we'll do another test drive. So I gave it to them. They have it for a few more days. I come back this day, it was raining, just like the day that I purchased the vehicle. We take it for another test drive, and it seems to be a little bit better than what it was before. The reason that I didn't know was the traction control was taking over when it was in the rain versus any other point in time. It felt fine in the rain because of the traction control. So once we got done with the test drive, the second one, he says, I'm not feeling these issues that you're saying you're having, but tell you what, take it to another Hyundai dealership, let them inspect it and see what they find. And this is what he told me to do. I said, okay, not a problem. I take it to another dealership. The minute I pull up, I'm starting to doubt myself because I honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I'm feeling it, other times I'm not feeling it. I don't know what's going on with the car.
I'm on the way to the secondary dealership now. I don't know if this is because of the tires. I don't know, because I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what the issue is.
One of their associates meets me directly outside and he says, let me see the key. I give him the key. He starts walking around the car. Immediately, he points out and sees that the alignment of the front bumper is not correct. Something has happened in that area. He said it might have been hit. There might be somebody tried to replace it and they didn't do it properly. He walks around to the other side and says the key fob, one of them is dead, but I had two. There's a battery in one of them that has to be dead because the electrical system seems like it's not working properly. There might be a short in there, but I'm not 100% sure. Walks around to the tires. These aren't the same tires. These tires aren't right for this vehicle. This isn't the right specs, essentially, for this car. I don't know why these are on here. He says, tell you what, leave it with me a couple of days. I'll tell you what I find. I said, okay, no problem. Less than 72 hours. He calls me back. I go back in, and when I walked in, I didn't tell him anything. I just said, it looks like there's something wrong. I don't know what the problem is. They told me everything that I said was correct and that the battery was about to die as well. He told me was that, here's the write-up. You can have us fix it. You can take it back to the other dealership and let them know. What we did for you right now was replace the battery in the key fob. We did an alignment on the vehicle. We rotated the tires to help kind of balance it and see if it works any better for you. If there's anything else, just let us know. He gives me his business card. He gives me a packet with everything. He says, reach out to me if you need anything. That is customer service. That's what you're supposed to do when someone has an issue. I drive the car away and it actually does feel a little bit better. I go back to the other dealership. I take this paperwork. The guy from the very first dealership, he told me to go get this paperwork from another Hyundai dealership. So I take this packet. I give it to him exactly as it was. I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything. He sees the issues that are written out on there, plain as day. And he says, well, any dealership you take it to, they're going to find something. There's going to be a speck of dirt here and there. No, you told me to take this car to another dealership and have them take a look at it. That's exactly what I did. Here are all the problems they found. Can you fix the problems? If not, I need my money back for the car. And he at this point starts to say, I don't know, let me call the owner of that location, that dealership. So I'm sitting there for a few minutes and he calls him and he says, well, I called him, I emailed him, he's in Florida right now. He's flying back up tonight. He should be back by 9 o'clock, I think, that night. By that time it was 6, maybe 6:30. And he says, I'll give you a call in the morning and let you know what he said. And I said, no, I'm gonna sit right here and just wait for him to come in. Literally sat there from 6:30 until 9:30. They're cleaning up around me as I'm waiting for this person to show up. Eventually it comes to almost 10 o'clock. He comes over to me and he says, hey, I've called him again. I've emailed him again. He hasn't responded. I will let you know by lunchtime the next day what we'll be able to do. He does call me at lunchtime and lets me know that the owner of that location said that they would be able to replace the tire, fix the alignment on the bumper, but they wouldn't fix the battery. They weren't going to do anything about the electrical system, and no other problems would be fixed for the car. At that moment I said, okay, I need my money back, and I hung up the phone. They still did not want to give me back my money for the vehicle, even though I had only had possession of this car for less than 72 hours. In the 4 months that I had all these problems going back and forth with this dealership about what was going on with the car and what needed to be fixed, I took it upon myself, of course, to then call the owner of all of the dealerships who lived in Florida. 2 weeks I was emailing, and it week I was calling. I spoke to his assistant maybe 3 times. I emailed them every day. It came around to maybe 2.5 or 3 weeks after I had the last conversation with the sales supervisor that I got a phone call from their corporate finance department and said that they would be able to undo the deal if I came in and just chatted with them. That sounds like something that I actually wanted to happen rather than you just trying to stonewall me and tell me, no, this can't be done. I speak to the finance guy and he says, you know, sorry, nobody wants to have a vehicle that all these issues are happening with. The initial salesperson screwed up when he wrote out the paperwork. He had the wrong amount for my trade-in. He ran my credit when he wasn't supposed to. They essentially were ready to undo the deal because he messed up and they knew that that opened them to some sort of liability. They undid everything, rescinded the loan, gave me back my down payment. They actually kept my trade-in, which helped me out. I could go get another car, which is the one I have now. It was just a very, very long, drawn out experience that I shouldn't have had to deal with. Moral of the story is make sure you do your research. Make sure that even if the Carfax says that there's no accidents, look up other vehicle history reports if you can, whether it's in your state's DMV records or whatever. Make sure you look it up and that you know that there's no issues, that this car has not been repaired anywhere, because that's another thing you'll find out. If someone gets in an accident and they repair the vehicle on their own and there's no police report, it's not going to show up on Carfax. Make sure you know where this car came from, what it has been through, what it hasn't been through. Make sure it doesn't have multiple owners, and especially in a short period of time. Just do your due diligence and make sure that you don't have to deal with anything that I had to deal with. And that's all for now. In the next video, I'll probably be talking about my experience with the car I actually did get to purchase all online. And I'll let you guys know about that situation. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Let me know if you guys have had any other experiences similar to this. And thanks you for watching.